just because you can doesn't mean you should, right? So I sometimes think that this is very obvious to everyone in the world except for me, because I have a tendency to think that if I can, then I should. And that's something that I've worked really hard to outgrow. But I have clearly not outgrown it entirely, because yesterday I went to a yoga class, and I went because I'm trying to have a yoga practice. I'm trying to be a yoga gal. This is not easy for me because yoga goes at a pace that is not my natural pace. And as such, yoga is very good for me because it is slow, steady, and requires patience, and it brings about patience. And so this is good for me because I do Zumba, and it's really fast and really like constantly going, whether it's physically, mentally, whatever. I go at a very fast pace. This is probably why I've always hated running. It's too monotonous. I need too much stimulation. So yoga is good for my body. It's good for my mind. It's good for my soul. So I went to yoga to do all of these great things for myself. And then 3/4 of the way through the class, as I'm nice and warm and doing the poses and everything's great, I decide when it's headstand time that I'm going to do a headstand. Because I've done the headstand before, on my forearms a few times, and no problem. So yesterday I just decided that I'm going to do the full Monty. Feet in the air, completely inverse, a real full-on headstand. And I did this because I could. I did this because my natural tendency is to push myself. My tendency is to say, yes, of course I can do that. And if I think I can, then I will try. I've told you about how I respond to dares like a 13-year-old boy. That's basically because I'm constantly daring myself to do stuff. Yesterday, I dared myself to do a headstand. I did a beautiful headstand. It was awe-inspiring, I'm sure. And what it inspired in me was massive amounts of pain in my upper right back, neck. Ouch. That's what it inspired in me. Ouch. It inspired nothing but this video, because truly it was asinine and stupid of me to do a headstand. I don't even have a yoga practice. This is like a high degree of difficulty dive here, people. And the fact that I could do a headstand because of a childhood where I was, kind of an acrobat, doesn't mean that I should have done a headstand. 25 years ago, I weighed less. I was more limber, and I probably then didn't feel great when I was inverse, upside down in a headstand. But I forget these things because I'm just like, duh, don't do headstands. Caralyn, remember, don't do headstands. So I'm telling you all, I'm committing to the world, I will never again do a headstand. And I'm inviting you today on my Grow a Pair Challenge to look at your life and figure out where you're doing a headstand. Because the thing about the headstand is the whole entire thing was like 30 seconds. It felt much longer. But the whole thing was probably all of 30 seconds. And it is causing a ripple effect of pain that will probably last many, many, many days. My chiropractor is just like, you did what? And I'm like, I did a headstand. I know. And she's like, Caralyn, don't do headstands. You're crazy. I'm a little crazy. But we're all a little crazy. You might not do headstands, but you do something else that is something that only takes maybe a little bit of time out of your life, but the repercussions, the after effects, the aftershocks, the waves that go through your life of like pain and angst and agony because of this one thing that you do. Maybe it's a commitment that you have, an obligation, a habit, something that you've taken on and just does not work for you, but you're like but it doesn't take that much time. It only takes me like 15 minutes a day to do this thing for this person or whatever it is. Or yeah, I could commit to that. I could help you out with that. I mean, it'll only be like 2 hours a week. Yeah, I have 2 hours a week. And it's like killing your life joy, and the pain of it is way bigger than the actual event of it. So I'm inviting you to look at your life and figure out where you're doing a headstand. Because I have to believe that I'm not the only idiot here. And that mine might be more glaring and obvious and physical at times. But that we're all doing headstands in some way, shape, or form that we could just stop doing and just say, you know what, I just want to stand up on my feet. Oh, it feels so good to just not be on my head anymore. You know, what are you doing that you could look at and say, I'm not doing that ever again. I commit to never doing another whatever. You are allowed to not do any more headstands. So my Grow a Pair challenge for you today is to look at your life and figure out one headstand that you're doing on a regular basis or that you think is okay, because I can do it, but just because you can doesn't mean that you should. This is Caralyn Howe with What You Really, Really Want, reminding you that headstands are for yogic gods, and you're not one. You are a goddess. And as such, you need to stop doing headstands because you need to take better care of yourself than that. You need to go at the pace of your own life and stop worrying about everybody else's needs all the time, because that's what we do. We look around and we say they need that and they need that, and yeah, I mean, I can volunteer, I can do it. Just because you can doesn't mean you should. I'll see you tomorrow.